It's a very important part of my life, and it like really interests me. Is I eat, sleep, and breathe it, and it's a weird sport because there's a lot of different sizes in people. It can go from Trindon Holiday, this guy getting smacked by a punter, who's the shortest player of NFL history, and he's 5'5" and pretty light. And then there are tight ends like Levine Tolo, who's 6'9". Yeah. And so size. So my inquiry question was, how does the size of a football player affect their play at each position? And so since he's so small, it allowed him to get hit pretty hard by a punter, and punters don't even practice hitting because it's not what they're supposed to do. Okay, so we're starting at the quarterback position. This is Steve Young. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He took over the 49ers after Joe Montana left. And he is 6'2", 215 pounds. He threw for 33,124 yards and 32 touchdowns, and he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. This right here is Jared Lorenzen. He's 6'4", 315 pounds, earning the nickname Hefty Lefty. He only had 28 yards and no touchdowns in his 3-year NFL career as a backup. Okay, so him on my right is Jerome Bettis, and he earned the nickname of the Bus because he's a 5'11", 255-pound running back. He's bigger than most running backs, but he's just as good. He's 6th on the all-time rushing leaderboard, and he has 13,662 rushing yards with 91 touchdowns. And then Darren Sproles right here is on the smaller side. He's 5'6", 190 pounds, and only had 2,867 yards and 20 touchdowns. And since he's so small, he was never that good as a primary running back, but he's pretty good in special teams, so kick returning and punt returning, because he's really fast. Okay, so Rob Gronkowski over there, he's a 6'6", 265-pound tight end. He's currently the best tight end in the NFL and making a name for himself as one of the best of all time, if not the best. This year, he finished the season with 1,403 yards and 14 touchdowns. Granted, he has one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL throwing to him, Tom Brady. And then this is Mike Rivera. He is 6'3", 245 pounds, so 3 inches shorter than Rob Gronkowski, and he only had 280 receiving yards and 1 touchdown this season. Okay, so Randy Moss over there is arguably one of the most gifted, athletically players of all time, because he was 6'4", 210 pounds, so he's bigger. He ran at 2.25 at the, or not a 2.25, a 4.25 at the 40-yard dash, and he had a 51-inch vertical jump, making him practically unguardable, unless he was double covered, which still didn't solve the problem very much. He has over 15,000 receiving yards and 156 touchdowns. And then this is Trindon Holiday, back to him again, who is 5'5", 160 pounds. Very small for an NFL player. Even though he did run a 4.34, which is really fast, he just wasn't big enough to be a primary receiver. So he had 4 touchdowns, but they were all in punt return, kick returns, so he never got his chance at receiver in the NFL. Okay, so going back over with running backs, I found that since football with running backs, it's a very situational game. So if you're in like a 3rd and 1 situation, you want a bigger running back like Jerome Bettis, who can just take it up the middle and run people over and get tough yards. But if you're in like a 1st and 10, you want a lengthier back who's faster and more elusive, so he has the big playability. With receivers and tight ends, I found that height helps because you can't teach it, and it's just something naturally that people are blessed with. And then quarterback, I found that you should be a little tall so you can see over your linemen and make good reads, but you cannot be as heavy as Jared Lorenzen. Okay, so that's Vince Wilfork, who is 6'2", 325 pounds. He wasn't the best in the pass game, but he's one of the best run stuffers of all time due to his immense size and strength. He had 13 sacks and 3 interceptions. And then this is Marcus Kuhn, who is 6'4", 300 pounds. And even though he's big, he was, like, by a lot of the NFL analysts, he was called the worst defensive tackle and even the worst defensive player in the NFL this year. He only had 20 tackles and 0.5 of a sack. Okay, so that's Ray Lewis, who is my favorite inside linebacker of all time because of the way he played and his aggressiveness. He was 6'1", 240 pounds. He was a little short, but he played bigger than he was. He forced 17 fumbles and he had 33 interceptions. Oh, he's a Hall of Famer too. And then this is John Beason. He's only 6 foot and 232 pounds, so he's smaller than Ray Lewis. And even though he's only 8 pounds lighter, that makes a big difference. He only had 10 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles. Okay, so that's Rod Woodson. He's my favorite corner of all time because he's 6 foot, 205 pounds, making him a threat in the run game, so he can shed receivers that aren't the best blockers. And he had 71 interceptions, 207 tackles, and 13.5 sacks. Having 13.5 sacks as a quarterback is ridiculous because you aren't like always rushing the passer. You're more of a pass coverage person, but you got it. And then this is Mark McMillian. He's only 5'7" and 154 pounds. He's very small, making him like a problem when other teams would run against him because he couldn't get off blocks and couldn't make tackles. He only had 23 interceptions and 1.5 of a sack, which is still good because he's a corner and he's small, but it's nowhere compared to Rod Woodson. Oh, that's it. I have another, for people that I just mentioned, so Lawrence Taylor, who is arguably like the most dominant defensive player of all time, he had 132.5 sacks and 9 interceptions as a outside linebacker, and he was used like the Broncos used Von Miller as primarily a pass rusher. And then T.J. Dawson, who currently plays, is only 6 foot and 240 pounds, and he only had 12 tackles and 0 sacks. So, recapping on the defensive side, I found that defensive tackles need to be bigger and stronger so they can clog up the run gaps and stop the run. Linebackers, I found, are better to be taller so they can read plays and watch like what the quarterback is doing and how the line are preparing to block. Outside linebackers, I found that height is better because if you're taller, you have a longer arm reach, so they can't the offensive lineman can't block you in, which is their goal. And then for defensive backs, I found that height is much better, so that you can be a threat to stopping the run game instead of just like a problem. And then so in recap, I found that size can always help in football pretty much. It's never like a disadvantage if you're too tall unless you're playing like receiver or corner and it affects your strides and you're not as quick to move. But size helps, and there are some players that can be better, that are good, that are small, like Maurice Jones-Drew, who is a running back for the Jaguars, but that's a very it's a weird case. It doesn't happen much. And that's it.